Imagine this scene. The lights are low. The day is done. You reach for her, your wife, the woman you've built a life with. It's a familiar gesture, one you've made 1,000 times. But tonight, something is different. Her body, lying next to yours, feels like a foreign country with closed borders. You feel it before you see it. It's a subtle shift, a barely perceptible tension in her hips as you move closer. It's not a verbal, no, it's not a push away. It's something far more profound, and far more painful. It's a silent, physical rejection that echoes in the space between you. Your hand freezes mid-air. Suddenly, the confidence you felt moments ago evaporates, replaced by a cold wave of uncertainty. This is the moment where most men retreat, confused and wounded. They interpret this physical language as a simple lack of desire, a sign of fatigue, or worse, a personal rejection of their own attractiveness. But what if I told you this interpretation is a profound thinking error? You are missing the entire conversation. Her body, specifically the cradle of her femininity, her hips, is speaking a language you were never taught to understand. Sigmund Freud, a man who dedicated his life to the unsaid, knew that the body never lies. It holds the keys to the subconscious, to the repressed emotions and hidden desires that govern our relationships. That subtle tension in her hips is not just a muscular contraction, it's a paragraph, a chapter, a full-blown psychological manuscript written in a code you must learn to decipher if you wish to reclaim true intimacy and trust in your marriage. Our lectures are an invitation to a deeper dialogue. To stay up to date with the next topic, subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon. Please share your thoughts in the comments. This is where the foundation of so many divorces is laid. Not in loud arguments or dramatic acts of infidelity, but in these quiet, nightly misunderstandings. It's a death by 1,000 cuts to your shared intimacy. You feel the rejection, she feels your subsequent withdrawal, and a new habit is born, avoidance. The space in the bed between you grows. The communication breaks down, not because you stopped talking, but because you were never truly listening to the real conversation. Her hips are the epicenter of her primal, female energy. They are biologically and psychologically wired to be the gateway to both life and pleasure. When they are open, relaxed, and fluid, she is communicating trust, surrender, and a deep-seated feeling of safety with you. She feels seen. She feels desired not just for her body, but for the woman inhabiting it. But when they are tense, rigid, or still, it is a primal signal of defense. This isn't necessarily about you. This is a message from her subconscious. It could be about unresolved stress from her day, a lingering resentment from a morning argument, or a deeper fear about the state of your emotional connection. By misreading this signal as a simple, "I don't want you," you invalidate her unspoken emotional state. You make it about your ego, your needs. This is the critical thinking error that turns a moment of potential connection into a brick in the wall separating you. Understanding this is the first step toward dismantling that wall and rebuilding the bridge of genuine attraction. Sigmund Freud would call this phenomenon somatic communication, the body expressing what the conscious mind cannot or will not articulate. For a woman, whose emotional and physical states are so deeply intertwined, the hips become a barometer for her psychological well-being within the relationship. Think of them as her emotional compass. A slight tilt away from you can signify emotional cheating of the mind. She might be physically present, but her thoughts and emotional energy are elsewhere. A rigid stillness might communicate a breach of trust, a feeling of being unsafe or unheard in the broader context of your marriage. This isn't a conscious strategy to manipulate you, it's an involuntary truth. Her body is protecting her. It's broadcasting her inner state. Your failure to receive this broadcast is a failure in communication more significant than any argument. You are trying to speak French to someone screaming in German. You keep asking, "Do you want me?" while her body is saying, "Do you see me? Do you understand what I'm feeling right now, beyond this bed, beyond this moment?" This is where your journey must begin, by shifting your focus from your own desire to her unspoken emotional narrative. You must become a psychologist in your own bedroom, an expert interpreter of the most honest language on earth, the language of the body. Her hips are not just a part of her anatomy, they are the keepers of her secrets, her fears, and the truest measure of her attraction to you. Let's dissect the tension. When you witness that rigidity in her hips, your first instinct is to either apply more pressure, trying to force a connection, or to retreat entirely, accepting defeat. Both are wrong. Both are selfish, ego-driven reactions. Instead, you must learn to see this tension not as a wall, but as a shield. What is she shielding herself from? This is the question that unlocks everything. Perhaps she feels that your desire is purely physical, a mechanical habit devoid of the emotional connection that truly ignites her. Her hips tense up because her spirit feels unseen. Or maybe the shield is against the outside world. The pressures of work, family, and modern life have followed her into the bedroom, and she hasn't had the space to transition from her public armor to her private vulnerability. Your immediate physical advance feels like another demand on her energy, rather than a sanctuary. This is where so many spouses fail. They see the shield and attack it or flee from it, rather than doing the one thing that can lower it, creating safety. This is not about a lack of confidence on your part, it's about a lack of profound, empathetic understanding. The journey to true, earth-shattering intimacy isn't about learning new techniques, it's about learning to create an emotional environment where her shield becomes unnecessary. Her hips will not lie. They will tell you, with unflinching honesty, the exact moment she feels safe enough to be truly open with you. The body remembers everything. Freud called this the psychic apparatus, where every experience, every touch, every word is stored. Her hips, in this sense, are a living archive of your entire relationship. They remember the nights of passionate connection, but they also hold the memory of every betrayal, both large and small. They remember the times you touched her with presence and adoration, and they remember the times you touched her absently, as an afterthought. They remember the security of your trust and the sharp sting of adultery or emotional cheating. When trust is broken, the body's first line of defense is to close itself off. The hips, as the gateway to her most vulnerable self, become the fortress. That tension you feel might not even be about today. It could be the physical echo of an argument from last year, a lie you told 2 years ago, a pattern of emotional neglect that has been building for a decade. This is why simply trying harder in the bedroom is a fool's errand. You are trying to paint a new coat of paint on a crumbling foundation. True attraction, the kind that leads to a deep, soulful connection, cannot be built on a bedrock of remembered pain. You must first address the ghosts in the archive. This requires a new level of communication, one that starts long before you ever enter the bedroom. It requires you to understand that her body's language tonight is a reflection of your relationship's entire history. Only by acknowledging and healing the past can you hope to change the physical conversation of the present. Within every man, Carl Jung would argue, lies a set of archetypes. Two of the most powerful in the context of relationships are the protector and the predator. For years, you have likely been operating from the predator mindset without even realizing it. The predator seeks to conquer, to take, to satisfy a need. His energy is focused on the goal, physical release. When you reach for her with this energy, her body senses it on a primal, cellular level. Her hips, the symbolic gate to her sacred space, will instinctively lock down. It is an ancient, biological response to a perceived threat. The predator energy, no matter how lovingly intended, makes her feel like an object to be consumed. The shift you must make, the transformation that will change everything in your marriage, is to embody the archetype of the protector. The protector's primary goal is not to take, but to create safety. His energy is a circle of security that he extends around her. His touch is not a question of, what can I get, but a statement of, I am here to ensure you are safe. This is not about being weak or passive. The protector possesses immense strength, but it is a contained, confident strength that serves her well-being. When you approach her with this energy, her subconscious recognizes that the gate does not need to be guarded. The shield becomes redundant. Her body's involuntary defense mechanisms stand down. The tension in her hips doesn't need to be forced away, it dissolves in the presence of genuine emotional safety. This is the psychology of true seduction. So how do you communicate this shift from predator to protector? It begins with redefining your understanding of touch. You must master the art of non-demanding touch. This is a form of communication that is entirely devoid of expectation. It is touch for the sake of connection, not for the prelude to a transaction. Think about it, for most of your relationship, how often has your touch been transactional? You touch her shoulder as a signal that you want to move to the bedroom. You kiss her neck with the clear intention of escalating. Her body has learned this habit, this pattern. She has been conditioned to feel your touch and immediately brace for the unspoken question, the expectation. Non-demanding touch breaks this pattern. It rewires her nervous system. It is resting your hand on the small of her back while you cook dinner, with no further agenda. It is stroking her hair while you watch a movie, expecting nothing in return. It is a slow, deliberate massage of her feet after a long day, where the only goal is her relaxation. This kind of touch sends a powerful message directly to her subconscious: I am with you. I cherish you. My affection is not a currency I spend to get what I want. When you practice this consistently, you are rebuilding the foundation of trust on a physical level. You are teaching her body, through a new habit of physical communication, that your touch is a safe harbor, not a demand for passage. And her hips will respond. Freud believed in the concept of cathexis, the investment of psychic energy in an object or person. For a woman, attraction is not a simple switch, it is a flow of this energy. This flow does not begin in her body, it begins in her mind and heart. True female desire is a consequence of feeling emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually connected. If that connection is frayed, the physical body will refuse to follow. The tension in her hips is often a physical symptom of a disconnected energetic circuit. She cannot give you her body when she feels you do not have her heart. Your obsession with the physical act is, in her reality, a profound misunderstanding of what actually creates arousal. You are trying to start a fire with a wet log. The real work of seduction, the real path to her surrender, happens hours and days before you even think about the bedroom. It's in the way you listen to her talk about her day. It's in remembering the small details that matter to her. It's in the way you look at her from across the room, a look that says, I see you, and not just, I want you. This is how you fuel the fire. This is how you invest your own psychic energy into her, creating a powerful cathexis that makes her want to connect with you physically. When she feels that unwavering emotional and mental presence from you, the energy flows freely. Her mind opens, her heart opens, and as a direct, inevitable result, her hips will open. It is a law of emotional physics. Once you have created this environment of safety and connection, her body's language will change entirely. It will shift from a defensive posture to one of invitation. But these invitations are often just as subtle as the rejections were. You must attune your senses to a new frequency of communication. An invitation is not always an overt gesture. It can be the way she leans her hip against you while you stand at the kitchen counter. It's a micro-movement, a momentary softening that says, I am comfortable in your space. It can be the way she unconsciously sways her hips when she walks past you, a subtle, almost imperceptible display of her feminine energy, now feeling safe enough to be expressed. It's in the way she holds your gaze for a second longer than usual, a silent acknowledgement of the restored connection between you. These are not calculated moves, they are the involuntary signals of a nervous system that feels secure and a subconscious that feels attracted. The man operating from the predator mindset misses all of this. He is waiting for a green light, a clear, unambiguous signal. The man who embodies the protector, the man who has cultivated this deep understanding, sees the poetry in these subtle shifts. He recognizes them not as mere physical tics, but as the blossoming of the trust he has so carefully nurtured. He doesn't need to force anything, because he can now read the language of genuine, emerging desire. Now, consider your own body's language. In moments of tension and uncertainty, your instinct is to move, to act, to do something to fix the situation. This anxious energy is palpable. She feels it as pressure, as neediness, and it only serves to reinforce her defenses. The most powerful tool you can develop in these moments is your own stillness. When you feel that subtle rejection, that tension in her hips, instead of pulling away or pushing forward, simply become still. Be present. Breathe. Let your own body relax. Your stillness in the face of her tension is a profound statement of confidence and understanding. It communicates that you are not scared of her emotional state. You are not dependent on a specific outcome for your own validation. You are simply there, holding the space for whatever she is feeling, without judgment. This stillness is a vacuum into which her tension can dissipate. It gives her the unspoken permission to feel what she feels. Paradoxically, by doing nothing, you are doing everything. You are breaking the toxic cycle of her tension, causing your anxiety, which in turn causes more of her tension. Your calm, grounded presence is the ultimate act of the protector. It says, "I am the rock. I am not shaken by this. I am here." This powerful, silent communication can de-escalate her defenses more effectively than any word or action. It is the final key to becoming a master of this secret language. To go deeper, we must acknowledge that you are not the only man in her life. In her subconscious, another man has always been there, her father. Freudian psychology, particularly the Electra complex, posits that a woman's earliest relationship with a male figure, her father, creates the blueprint for her future romantic attachments. The trust, safety, and validation she received, or failed to receive, from him are stored deep within her psyche. This emotional blueprint is often projected onto you, her spouse. If her father was emotionally distant, critical, or unreliable, her body may harbor a deep-seated, unconscious fear of male intimacy. Her hips may tense up not in reaction to you in this present moment, but in reaction to a ghost from her past. She may be unconsciously testing you, waiting to see if you will repeat the pattern of abandonment or criticism she experienced as a child. This is a profound and often uncomfortable truth of relationship psychology. Her body's language is not just a conversation between the two of you, it's a multi-generational dialogue. When you meet her tension with anger or frustration, you confirm her deepest fears, that male energy is unsafe, demanding, and ultimately disappointing. However, when you meet it with the calm, unwavering presence of the protector, you do more than just navigate a difficult moment. You actively heal a primal wound within her. You become the man who breaks the cycle. Your stillness and understanding offer a corrective emotional experience, proving that masculine energy can be a sanctuary, not a threat. Modern society has sold us a lie about female sexuality, the myth of spontaneous desire. We see it in movies, read it in books, the idea that a woman should be instantly ready for physical intimacy at a moment's notice. This is a fundamentally masculine model of arousal projected onto the female experience, and it is the source of endless frustration and misunderstanding in marriage. For most women, desire is not spontaneous, it is responsive. It does not simply appear out of thin air. It responds to a specific set of emotional and psychological triggers: feeling desired, feeling safe, feeling emotionally connected, feeling appreciated. When you complain that she is never in the mood, you are demonstrating a complete ignorance of her psychological and biological reality. You are waiting for a magical switch to flip when, in fact, you are the one who holds the responsibility for creating the conditions under which that switch can be flipped. Her lack of spontaneous desire is not a flaw in her, nor is it a rejection of you. It is simply the way she is wired. Her hips remain a closed gate because the proper tribute has not been paid at the emotional gate. This requires a radical shift in your thinking. Stop looking for spontaneous desire and start focusing on becoming the stimulus to which her responsive desire can awaken. The entire dynamic of your intimate life will change when you stop being a passive observer waiting for her mood to change and become the active creator of the emotional climate in which her desire can naturally bloom. Let's speak directly about infidelity, because the tension in her hips is often the first physical symptom of its shadow. And I'm not just talking about the obvious betrayal of adultery. I'm talking about emotional cheating, which is often far more insidious and damaging. Emotional cheating is giving the best of your psychic energy, your attention, your validation, your deepest thoughts, to someone else. It's the constant texting with a female coworker. It's sharing your dreams and fears with another woman while your wife gets the logistical leftovers of your day. She may not know the details, she may have no concrete proof, but she feels the energetic void. She feels your divided attention. Her subconscious, which is infinitely more perceptive than her conscious mind, registers this withdrawal of your cathexis. Her body feels the betrayal before her mind can even articulate it. That rigidity in her hips is a physical manifestation of the question, "Where are you?" She feels she is competing for your presence, and in that competition, intimacy becomes impossible. Her body will not, cannot, open up to a man who is not fully there. It is a profound act of self-preservation. Before you blame her for a lack of physical desire, you must conduct a ruthless self-inventory. Where is your focus? Where is your emotional energy truly invested? Her body already knows the answer, and it is speaking that truth through the silent, unyielding tension in her hips. Reclaiming her trust requires more than just putting down your phone. It requires a complete redirection of your core energy back into the sacred space of your marriage. In your mind, there is a hidden scorecard for your intimate life. You are, consciously or not, focused on performance, on technique, on achieving a certain outcome. This performance-based mindset turns the sacred act of lovemaking into a goal-oriented task. It transforms the bedroom into a place of potential failure and judgment. Her body feels this pressure. She senses that she is part of a script you are trying to execute, rather than an experience you are sharing together. This pressure to perform, for both of you, is the enemy of authentic connection and surrender. Her hips tighten because she is subconsciously resisting being an object in your performance. She craves presence, not performance. Presence is the state of being fully engaged in the present moment, without attachment to the outcome. It's the feeling of your hands on her skin, not as a tool for stimulation, but as an act of worship. It's the look in your eyes that sees her, the person, not the body part. It's the rhythm of your breathing synchronized with hers. When you are fully present, the mental scorecard dissolves. There is no goal to achieve, only a moment to inhabit. This is the state in which a woman feels safe enough to let go. True ecstasy is not a result of perfect technique, it is a byproduct of absolute presence. Throw away the scorecard. Abandon the goal. Your only objective should be to be so completely present with her that the outside world, your own ego, and all sense of time disappear. In that space of pure presence, her body will have no choice but to respond. Finally, you must understand what her yes truly means. The movement of her hips, the softening, the tilting towards you, the fluid response to your touch, is not just a physical consent. It is a psychological and spiritual affirmation. It is the culmination of everything we have discussed. A relaxed, open hip posture is her body saying, "I trust you. I feel safe with you. I feel seen by you. I am emotionally connected to you. My past wounds feel healed in your presence. My mind is here with you, not somewhere else. I am not a goal for you to achieve, I am a partner in this moment with you." It is the physical manifestation of a holistic state of being. It is the ultimate vote of confidence in you as a man, a partner, and a protector. This is why forcing or coercing a physical yes, when the body is saying no, is an act of such profound violence to the relationship. It creates a deep fracture between her mind and her body, and it builds a mountain of resentment that can take years to dismantle, if ever. Your ultimate goal should not be to simply achieve a physical act. Your goal should be to become the kind of man to whom her entire being, mind, body, and soul, can give an unreserved, enthusiastic, and resounding yes. When you see her hips relax and open toward you, recognize it for what it is, the most honest and sacred compliment a woman can give you. Let's turn the lens inward. What is the internal monologue playing in your head as you approach her? Is it a voice of doubt, fear, and insecurity? Will she reject me again? Am I good enough? I hope this works. Or is it a voice of demand and expectation? She should want this. It's been a week. I deserve this. You may think these thoughts are silent, that they are your private domain. You are wrong. This internal monologue is not silent at all. It is broadcast from you as a powerful energetic signal. Your thoughts create micro-expressions on your face, subtle tensions in your own body, and an overarching emotional frequency that she reads with perfect, primitive accuracy. If your mind is filled with insecurity, she will not feel the confidence of a protector, she will feel the trembling hands of a supplicant, which places the burden of your validation on her. If your mind is filled with demand, she will not feel the warmth of a lover, she will feel the pressure of a creditor coming to collect a debt. Her body's defensive response is a direct reflection of the psychic noise you are emitting. The transformation, therefore, must begin within the confines of your own skull. You must consciously cultivate an internal monologue of pure, unconditional presence. A voice that says, I am here with you now. Whatever you feel is valid. My love and my strength are not conditional on this outcome. This is the silent frequency of safety. When you learn to master your own internal state, you will find that her external state begins to miraculously mirror it. Consider the act of divorce. We see it as a legal event, the dissolution of a contract. But psychologically, divorce is often the final symptom of a catastrophic failure in translation. It is the end result of years of two people speaking different languages while believing they are fluent in the other's tongue. You have been speaking the language of logic, desire, and outcome. She has been speaking the language of emotion, safety, and connection, broadcast through the subtle signals of her body. Every time her hips tensed and you misinterpreted it as a simple rejection, a small crack formed in the foundation of your marriage. Every time she felt unheard in the silent conversation, the crack widened. Adultery, the final betrayal for so many, is often just a desperate attempt to find someone who finally speaks, or appears to speak, the right language. The tragedy is that the dictionary was available to you the entire time. The code was never unbreakable. It simply required you to set aside your ego, your assumptions, and your own ingrained communication habits, and to learn to listen with more than just your ears. It required you to see her body not as a landscape to be conquered, but as a sacred text to be read with reverence and deep understanding. Preventing this failure is not about grand gestures, it is about mastering the art of these minute, nonverbal interactions. It is about becoming a fluent translator of her silent, secret language. Carl Jung gave us the concepts of the anima, the inner feminine within a man, and the animus, the inner masculine within a woman. A healthy, magnetic relationship is a dance between these energies. For you to truly understand her, you must connect with your own anima. This is your capacity for empathy, intuition, and emotional receptivity. For too long, you have likely suppressed this part of yourself, believing that strength lies only in the purely masculine domains of logic, action, and control. This is a thinking error of immense consequence. Your greatest strength in your relationship is your ability to access this intuitive part of yourself. It is your anima that can feel her emotional state before she says a word. It is your anima that understands the need for non-demanding touch and emotional safety. By integrating this feminine wisdom, you do not become less of a man, you become a whole man. You become a man who can move fluidly between the strength of the protector and the empathy of the confidant. This wholeness is magnetic. Your wife's animus, her inner masculine, craves this in a partner. She needs to feel your strength, but she also needs to know that your strength is guided by wisdom and understanding. When her animus recognizes and feels safe with your integrated anima, a profound, almost mystical attraction occurs. The tension in her hips is often a sign of a disharmony in this energetic dance. By healing yourself, by becoming whole, you create the conditions for the dance to resume. You stand now at a crossroads. Before this moment, your experience was one of confusion, frustration, and perhaps a creeping sense of rejection that has been eating away at your confidence for years. You saw her body as a locked door, and you felt powerless without the key. This is a state of psychological imprisonment. But now, you have been given the knowledge. You understand that the tension in her hips is not a lock, but a language. The confusion can now be replaced with curiosity. The frustration can be replaced with empathy. The rejection can be replaced with a deep, profound understanding of the human heart. This knowledge is the key to your own liberation. You are no longer a victim of her moods or a prisoner of your own misunderstandings. You now have the psychological tools to become the architect of your own intimate reality. You have the power to create safety, to rebuild trust, to speak the language her soul has been desperate for you to learn. The pain you have felt is not a sign of failure, it is a call to a higher level of consciousness, a more profound level of connection. The choice, now, is stark. You can continue to knock on the locked door with the blunt instrument of your old habits, or you can become the man who understands that the door was never truly locked at all. It was simply waiting for the right password, spoken not in words, but in presence. Stop trying to get into her bed. Start trying to understand the world that exists inside her mind. Stop focusing on the curve of her hips and start deciphering the language they speak. The physical act you crave is not the goal, it is a consequence. It is the natural, beautiful, inevitable result of a man who has done the real work. The work of building safety. The work of healing old wounds. The work of learning to listen to the silence. When you make her feel profoundly understood, her body will follow her heart, and her heart will be yours. This is not a technique, it is a transformation. It is the journey from a boy who takes, to a man who is given. The path to her body is through her soul. All you have to do is change the direction of your journey.